What's up, guys? Welcome to KHI Connor. I am Connor. UFC 324 fight week is finally here. UFC's long 6-week hiatus is finally over. We're back, boys. It's great. It feels great. I'm hyped. Great card. Not the card we were supposed to get, but nonetheless, great card. Could you imagine if this was Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett fight week and Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes was still on for the co-main event? Then we'd be really hyped. Then we'd be really cooking. But unfortunately, we're not. We're here. And we have Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the UFC lightweight interim title. Still great fight, fantastic fight. I'm very hyped for it, but excuse me, not the fight we were supposed to get. Nonetheless, it's a fantastic card. The UFC really brought it, made a stat card for this first Paramount debut card. And I'm very excited for it. Co-main event is now Sean O'Malley versus Sonya Dawn. Great card throughout the prelims, great card throughout the main card. And so let's talk about it, guys. Let's break this whole thing. Before we do that, though, guys, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, share it with your grandma, share it with your MMA homies. I'd very much appreciate it. On to the first fight we go. We will, of course, be starting with the main event. One, Paddy Pimblett will be taking on Justin Gaethje for the UFC lightweight interim title. Justin Gaethje coming in at plus 186. Paddy Pimblett coming in at minus 245. Paddy Pimblett a substantial favorite heading into this one. Not the biggest in the world, but still pretty substantial. Justin Gaethje, of course, coming off that win over Rafael Fiziev from back in last March, in which he looked very good in that fight. Did exactly what he had to do. Was a late replacement. I forget who was originally supposed to be fighting Justin Gaethje on that card. I believe it was Dan Hooker, if memory serves me correct. And so that would have been a fucking banger. But nonetheless, they put on a fantastic fight, as Justin Gaethje always does. One of the best fights of the year. Made it just outside of my top 10 if you happen to see that video. But nonetheless, Justin Gaethje did Justin Gaethje things. Puts on very exciting fights. Justin Gaethje, one of the most exciting fighters in the sport, if not the most. I kind of think the only guy that's even competing with him in the realm of like who's the most violent is Yuri Prohaska right now, in terms of like just who puts on the best fights. It's really Justin Gaethje and Yuri Prohaska are kind of in a league of their own in that category. And just Gaethje, longtime UFC fighter now at this point, been around quite a while. I think it's 10 years. I think Michael Jackson fight was 2016. Maybe might have been 2017. So we're going on 9 years with Justin Gaethje in the UFC. And he's, of course, always been exciting. If you saw any of his WSOF fights back in the day, you already knew before Gaethje even entered the UFC how exciting this guy was. Paddy Pimblett coming off that big win over Michael Chandler from back in last April. So been a minute since Paddy Pimblett fought. I've been a minute since both of them fought, honestly. And Paddy Pimblett looked extraordinary in that fight. Was able to use his size and his reach really well on Michael Chandler. Able to get mount and kind of just dominate Chandler from bell to bell during that entire fight. How is this fight going to go here with Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett? I do think Paddy Pimblett is going to end up using his size and his reach yet again to get the job done here. I do think he's going to have a harder time, though, with Justin Gaethje than he had with Michael Chandler. In terms of, I don't know if he'll be looking for takedowns, but in terms of getting it to the ground, I think he'll have a little bit of a harder time than he did with Michael Chandler. And then in the stand-up department, I do think Paddy Pimblett is going to have a much harder time hitting Justin Gaethje cleanly than he did Michael Chandler. Maybe not even cleanly is the right word. Hitting him with something meaningful that's going to really get Justin Gaethje out of there. Unless, of course, Justin Gaethje's chin has just deteriorated so much to where Paddy Pimblett's going to be able to drop him very quickly. I don't know here. It's funny, you see Paddy Pimblett doing the whole stare down thing with Justin Gaethje, and he's definitely making himself look smaller. And you got to wonder who he's trying to fool there, if he's trying to fool the audience or if he's trying to fool Justin Gaethje and his team. So nonetheless, I do think Paddy's reach and size is definitely going to end up being a problem for Justin Gaethje. I think first few rounds are going to be pretty wild, pretty hectic, but eventually Paddy's going to start wearing on Justin. He's going to secure really good position at a certain point throughout the fight. I'm thinking like third or fourth round, and Paddy Pimblett will eventually wear down Justin Gaethje enough to where he'll be able to lock up a sub. I'm thinking like rear naked choke type thing. So I'm going to go Paddy Pimblett sub round 4 as my official guess. Not the most confident on that. We'll see what ends up happening here. We're definitely going to see just how good Paddy Pimblett's chin is, and it's looked pretty good so far. So Yeah, I'm going Paddy Pimblett sub round 4 for my official pick. And we'll see how well that goes. I think it's going to be a wild fight up until that point, though. In your co-main event, Sean O'Malley is now taking on Sonya Dawn, or has always been taking on Sonya Dawn. It is just now the co-main event. Sean O'Malley coming in at minus 225. Sonya Dawn coming in at plus 172. Great fight. It's actually a spectacular fight. It should be a stand-up war the entire time it takes place. Sean O'Malley, of course, coming off the loss to Merab for the second time in the rematch that they had, in which that fight did not go well for him at all. He looked worse in this fight, in my opinion, than he did in the first Merab fight. And just really didn't have any answers for the grappling in Merab. Shouldn't be a problem in this fight. Sonya Dawn coming off that weird fight with Henry Cejudo, in which it ended in an eye poke, and it was a pretty good fight up until that point. Cejudo was kind of starting to turn it up, and then the eye poke situation happened in the fourth, in which the fight was, I think it just went to the scorecards or whatever. It was one of those, and they end up giving it to Sonya Dawn because he was winning more rounds up until that point. We'll see here. This fight should be a typical power striker versus volume striker, sort of. Even though Sean O'Malley does possess a lot of power in his hands, he's definitely more of what I'd consider a volume striker. Sonya Dawn is definitely more of a power puncher, power kicker. He doesn't actually throw that many kicks when in my memory. Even though I got a picture of him throwing a kick right here against Ricky Simone. Nonetheless, this should be a fantastic fight for however long it lasts. Sonya Dawn typically has had a very good chin. I don't remember him getting dropped, and he's fought some pretty heavy hitters. And Sean O'Malley, if there is going to be a guy to knock Sonya Dawn out, it should be Sean O'Malley, right? But I just don't think he's going to be able to get that done. I'm picking Sean O'Malley by decision. I think he's going to win every round. And I just think volume is just going to win him the fight. He's going to be doing more. He's going to be more active. He's going to land more punches, bigger punches, and be able to win the decision over Sonya Dawn. That's how I see that one going. In the next fight, Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. Waldo Cortez Acosta coming in at minus 330. Derek Lewis coming in at plus 240. Fantastic fight here. I'm really glad the UFC put this one together. Waldo Cortez Acosta coming off that big win over the GOAT Shamil Gaziev, which he knocked him out back at the UFC Qatar. Before that, of course, was the whole anti-Delija fight where the whole eye poke situation happened. While the Cortez Acosta gets eye poke, comes back, knocks him out like a second later. It was fantastic. It was one of the best moments of last year, in my opinion. And he looked very good doing that. Derek Lewis is coming off that big KO win over Taliesin Teixeira from UFC main event in, I believe, Tennessee last year, in which he did Derek Lewis things and he knocked out the cab driver that is probably Taliesin Teixeira. I say probably because we don't really know. Taliesin Teixeira has only had 2 UFC fights. Fighting Tai Tuivasa, by the way, next week, so look forward to that one. How is this one gonna go? It's honestly kind of similar to how I described Sean O'Malley and Sonya Dawn, in which it's the power puncher versus the guy with a lot of volume, the volume striker. The volume striker being Waldo Cortez Acosta and the power puncher being Derek Lewis. I see Waldo Cortez Acosta being able to kind of have his way here with Derek Lewis. I think he's going to be the more active striker. I just think Derek Lewis is getting up there in age too. I think his time is definitely running out in the sport. I think this is probably the last year we see Derek Lewis as an active fighter. I know heavyweights are just kind of built different and they can go much longer, but 41 now, I just kind of think Derek Lewis's time it's probably come to an end here, and I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is gonna get a TKO. I think he's gonna just land a lot of volume strikes on him, like I was saying, and eventually the ref is gonna have seen enough and get and stop the fight. And I think that'll probably happen around the third round. So I'm picking Waldo Cortez Acosta a third round TKO. In your next fight on the main card, Natalia Silva is taking on Rose Namajunas. Natalia Silva coming in at minus 440. Rose Namajunas coming in at plus 310. Awesome fight here. Not as good of a women's fight as Amanda Nunes versus Kayla Harrison would have been, but nonetheless, I'll take it. Natalia Silva coming off the big win over Alexa Grasso from last year, in which she looked fantastic in that fight, really able to use that kickboxing taekwondo style that she has and really just outpoint all her opponents. If you can't get Natalia Silva to the ground, good luck, because you're not sitting there trading kicks and punches with her and winning. Rose Namajunas, of course, coming off the win over Miranda Maverick from last year. And she's had a little bit of a stint now at flyweight. Been up here for a few years now. Definitely doesn't have more flyweight fights than she has strawweight fights, but nonetheless, been in the division for quite a while. Has fought Aaron Blanchfield, has fought Minera Ferrero, has fought pretty much all the big name girls in this weight class except for Valentina Shevchenko. This fight should be very interesting. I'm curious if it was going to be a bad decision to put this one on the main card, considering I could see this fight not being very entertaining. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to it, but I could see this fight just kind of being a point fighting decision and Natalia Silva just kind of having her way in the kickboxing realm against Rose Namajunas. I think she's going to be able to use that Taekwondo style, keep Rose Namajunas at bay, and just kind of pick her apart with kicks and punches. And anytime Rose Namajunas does come in, does try to engage more, she'll get caught with something big. I don't think Rose is going to look to the wrestling here, although maybe that is kind of the path to victory for Rose. If she does look towards the wrestling, it could get interesting. But nonetheless, I'm going to pick Natalia Silva by decision. Think that's how this is going to end up going, and I don't think it's going to be very entertaining, but I do think it'll earn Natalia Silva a title shot, and that'll be fun. Valentina Shevchenko versus Natalia Silva should be an awesome fight. In your final fight on the main card, Arnold Allen is taking on Jan Silva. Is it Jean? Jan? I don't know how we're pronouncing it. Jean Silva. I think everyone's saying Jean. Arnold Allen coming in at plus 230. Jean coming in at a minus 310. Big favorite for John Silva here, which is surprising considering his last fight. Arnold Allen, we'll start with him. Coming off that win over Giga Chikate from way back in 2024. I believe that was in October 2024, in which he looked spectacular in that fight, able to use his kickboxing, his reach, his range, land jabs, land big kicks, do Arnold Allen feints, and defeat the kickboxing veteran in Giga Chikate. Of course, Arnold Allen was on a 2-fight losing streak before that. One against Mozart Evlov, the other one against Max Holloway. So no shame in losing to those two of the best flyweights in the world. Well, no longer Max Holloway, but Mozart Evlov, certainly one of the best flyweights in the world. Still undefeated, that guy. Amazing he still hasn't gotten a title shot. Jan Silva, of course, coming off the loss to Diego Lopez back at UFC Noche, in which he got knocked out in that fight due to spinning elbow. In a fantastic fight, one of my top 10 favorite fights of the year. If you saw that video, if not, you can go check it out on my channel. But Jan Silva looked good in this fight until he didn't. Got way too overly aggressive, in my opinion, and walked right into a spinning elbow and got knocked out. Jan Silva has been nothing but exciting since he's entered the UFC. It's weird. There's kind of a fan sentiment around Jan Silva right now, in which the fans are kind of just turning on him. I think they're getting very annoyed by his personality and kind of seeing some of the holes in his game as well. And so the fans are kind of turning on him. But one win will get all the fans right back on your side. Fortunately, I don't think he's gonna get it against Arnold Allen. I think Arnold Allen's gonna be a little too on point for Jan Silva. I think if Jan Silva does get overly aggressive again, he might walk into something big against Arnold Allen. And I do think Arnold Allen, if they're just standing at kickboxing range, I think that's a very winnable fight for Arnold Allen. So I'm actually picking Arnold Allen by decision. I think he's going to win 2 of the 3 rounds. And I don't think he's going to be able to finish Jan Silva, but I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm picking Arnold Allen by decision. It's pretty confident in that one. Maybe don't go betting the house on it, but I do think that's a very good underdog pick, and probably my favorite underdog pick of the card, of this new Paramount era, of the first Paramount card ever. I am stoked to only pay $15 for this pay-per-view, whatever we're calling it now. Now that's not a pay-per-view. Still going to call it pay-per-view. But UFC 324 on Paramount. I'm curious to see how like everything looks. What are the new like imageries that Paramount's going to end up showing us? What do the face-offs look like? What does like the pre-fight hype build up when the fighters are walking out look like? Just curious how this whole thing's gonna end up looking. So I'm stoked for this card. Stoked the UFC is back. Here goes a look at the rest of my picks. Of course, picks in the green, losers in the red. I also put the method of which how I think they win in parentheses. If you're better, feel free to look at this. Feel free to bet on any of these. And you know, I do a decent amount of research, so I'm not just throwing shit out there with all of these. Some of the prelims I'm really looking forward to: Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. Can't wait for that fight. Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Picking Charles Johnson by TKO round 3. Can't wait for that. Charles Johnson continuing his run towards flyweight gold. Atepe Gutierrez KO round 1, of course. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo. Awesome fight. Umar Nurmagomedov should probably just dominate him. I think he's going to get like a Khabib style finish with ground and pound. So TKO round 2 for him. And that'll do it, guys, for the first ever UFC Paramount card, UFC 324. Yeah, can't wait for it. Very much looking forward to this card. Let me know in the comments how much you're looking forward to the card, what your most anticipated fight is, and all of that. And let me know your picks as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.